Put this compound all over the world is because this is the evidence of the transatlantic slave trade in Nigeria, in Badagry, in Lagos State. But this is not the only evidence. If you go to places like Lekki in Lagos, if I take you to Abeokuta, there are certain family compounds that you'll be so surprised of about what you will see there. Things that were used during the transatlantic slave trade. You'll be so surprised. It's not just here, but this building is very important. It's not just about the chain that our ancestors wore, but you see, this was where they were kept. In a room, 40 human beings were kept in a room. Why I said this is a spiritual journey is so that we can begin to sit back, relax, and think and meditate, compare, contrast. You realize that you have enough reason to appreciate the creator of life. Madam, in your house, how many people sleep in a room?
One.
One. You mean 100? The reason why I'm asking for the number of people that sleep in a room in your house is because here, they kept 40 human beings in a room. And a room have 2 rooms. 40, 40. Now you begin to imagine, were they standing? Were they sitting down? Were they lying down on each other? Nobody cares. Most of the people, they were captured from the interland. In fact, some of them were kings. Kings were captured. Princes, queens were captured. Chiefs, anyone could have been a victim. Children, it's irrelevant who you are. Now think about what you are going through today and imagine what took place that time. Imagine a king locked up in a barracoon. Now, a barracoon means a slave cell. A barracoon is an embankment where slaves were kept while waiting for the European slave ship to arrive. So before the arrival of the slave ship, they need a place to keep them like an hotel. So this is a terrible hotel. It's from the word barracoon that they got the word barracks. We have the police barracks, we have the army barracks. This is the slave barracks. Because the people that were kept here were human beings, but they were slaves. Who is a slave? A slave is the person that is the personal property of another person, and him or her does not have his or her own will. Now you don't even have a name. You don't determine your religion. You don't determine where you eat. That is if you eat at all. So here they urinated on themselves. Imagine a king locked up in the barracoon urinating on himself. He can stand up to go out, but nobody will open the door for him. Imagine a prince that used to be very, very glorious, captured and cannot go out anymore. You can't determine where you go to. You can't determine anything. You are welcome. We'll be talking about the story of a man that participated in the transatlantic slave trade. But his story, when school children hear about him, they usually feel bad. Do you know why? He was an African in the future who became a slave trader. How did he become a slave trader? He was captured originally at a town in Yoruba land called Jogaorile, which is in Ogun State today, not far from Abeokuta. Some say he was captured at the age of 6 years. Some say no, 8. Some say 11. Anyway, that clearly shows that he was captured when he was young. His first owner was an Islamic scholar and a slave trader by the name of Abbas. So they call him Abbas, who sold him to an European by the name of William. That was where he got the name Williams Abbas from. A slave don't have a name. Ma'am, what's your name?
Bailey.
My name is Anagosho. If Anagosho is Bailey's slave, what is my name?
Bailey.
Bailey. So don't call me Anago anymore, call me Bailey. So you're taking me with you. I hope you'll be a good master. Because the masters those times were not good. Human beings were referred to as commodities. Like you go to the market, you buy your bag of rice, and you dump it in the store. That was how the barracoon really was. So you buy your commodity and you dump them here. So Seriki Abbas, his second owner called Abbas, William, was the one who took him to Brazil. But there in Brazil, he realized there was something unusual about the little boy. Rather than sell him, he sold his other slaves, but took him to his house and made him a domestic slave. Domestic slave work in the master's house, plantation slaves work on the farm or on the field. He treated him well. He taught him how to write, he taught him how to read, and it was illegal at that time. For you to teach your slave how to read and write, you could go to jail for it. But he treated him well. And he was very, very intelligent. Through Mr. Williams and the friends of Mr. Williams, this man learned how to speak English, Dutch, Portuguese, and Spanish, which was unusual. So when he became a young man, Mr. Williams met him and said, I want to give you your freedom, but you work for me. And he responded and said, sir, I'm your slave. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you. That was how he became a slave trader. So whenever Mr. William go to do his business, which was slave trading, he usually takes him along. Consciously, he was teaching him his trade. What was his trade? Slave trading. And later, he decided that instead of him coming to West Africa, he needed someone to represent him here. And he sent this man called Fare Milekun. When his father and mother gave birth to him, his real name was Fare Milekun. His father's name was Fagbemi, but a slave don't have a name. So when he came back, he first settled down at the colony of Lagos, that we call Lagos Island today. Specifically in that place called Ofin. Ofin is in between Akmogbo and Idumota. This man still have descendants there. He still have families there. Some of them bear Abbas as a family name. Some of them bear Williams. Some bear Williams Abbas together. Some bear Siriki Abbas together. But it got to a time that he left Lagos Island to come and settle down here. And before he got here, there were people doing the business, but he dominated every one of them. How was he able to dominate? It was because he could read, he could write, he could speak many languages. And he still have Mr. Williams in Brazil, who was sending business partners to him. And one thing about him was that he was a loyalist. Till death, he was a loyalist. So in the year 1895, the British made him the ruler of this town. Now, history is for us to learn from, so that we don't continue to make the same old mistakes. I tell school children, despite the fact that he was a slave, he became a slave trader, today people come from everywhere to hear about him. It's not as if we are celebrating him. It's not as if we are not celebrating him. But we are supposed to learn from his story. He was a slave, but he became the ruler of Badagry in 1895, and he ruled this town for 24 years. In 1913, Governor General Lord Lugard. Now, Lord Lugard was the one who amalgamated Northern Nigeria and Southern Nigeria and made this country one in 1914. But in 1913, Lord Lugard made this man, he gave him a title called SCID, Senior Chief Ilaro Division. The whole of this environment was under Ilaro Division. And the British made this man the senior. So all the kings, all the chiefs were all under him. But don't forget, once upon a time, he was a slave. There's nothing you choose to be that you cannot achieve. So we are supposed to learn how was he able to achieve all that. Okay? So he ruled this town for 24 years. Even though he met people doing the business, but it got to a time that the British were really after the slave traders. And because they knew he was smart, they met him. And he later, toward the end of his life, he supported them to stop the business. But people argue. They say, but he had made a lot of profit doing the business before he stopped. Look at the two entrance doors behind us. These two doors have been here since when this compound was established in the 1840s. The foundation was in 1840. And why do they call this place Brazilian Barracoon? It was because it was Mr. Williams and the Brazilians who built this place for him. Brazilian Barracoon, Brazilian slave sale of Siriki Williams Abbas. And unfortunately, to my left are some of the items that were used in exchange for slaves. In Badagry, school children, most times, they don't believe. That is why we've written so many letters to the government to take care of this compound. This is the only evidence of the slave trade in Badagry. Not the chains we will show you. It's not the chain, but this was where they are kept. But in the next 50 years, if this compound is not standing, people that will come that time will say, no, it didn't happen, it's Photoshop. Because today, people will argue with me that how would they exchange 40 human beings for an umbrella? Haven't you noticed that in Africa, whenever the king or the chief is walking on the street, someone usually carry an umbrella over their head? Sir, are you a chief too? You don't know. Okay. So, the Europeans, in medieval time in Europe, it was fashionable in Europe that time. You see the ladies, they usually carry little umbrella. It was fashionable, okay, with a body servant following them. They saw the same idea to the chiefs here. They made them feel they are more important than their subject and their people. So they saw the idea of the umbrella, that they needed something to differentiate them from the ordinary person. And it worked very well. This very one, last year, 2019, made it 100 years. We had a public lecture in this compound to talk about the demise of Siriki Abbas and the lessons. What have we learned? Did we learn anything from what happened in the past. So that was when they added this. Oh my God. This part is not the original part, but the original one is turned and is inside. Okay, you see the original part. But this was given to him in 1895. And when you get inside, you see a picture where Serikaba sat down and they carried an umbrella over his head. It's this same umbrella. We don't have record of when this umbrella was manufactured, but that picture was taken in 1895. So 1895 to 2020 will give us an idea of how old the umbrella could have been. So, madam, can you try and lift this up? Carry from here. Okay, that's 40 human beings. It's heavy, okay. 40 human beings. You want to try it? 40.
Yeah.
You want to try it, see? Now, these are made of brass. Okay, some of what we have inside are like this. So you melt them, and women can get their jewelry and all that. That shows how. And let me try and show you the interior. Own umbrellas. There are cases of an incident at Ife that a wealthy man many years ago owned an umbrella, and they found out he owned an umbrella and he was killed because it's only the king that was supposed. So we can hold it now, but at the time, it's not something every one of us have access to. The value of a bottle of gin in Badagry was 10 human beings. You see one of such bottle in the show glass. Okay, the value of the big cannon gun was in Badagry because the prices varies from one place to the other. In Badagry, the value of the big cannon gun was 100 human beings, the small cannon gun 40. But what amazes me in all of this is that it is not the people here who actually determines the value. It is the people who are coming that determines the value. And it's still the same thing today, because many countries have petrol, they have oil, but they are not the one who determine the price of the oil. That is why it's falling, it's falling, it's falling. But you must understand that the country that have oil will control the world. But now the prices are falling and like it's useless. But how come USA have reserve that could last for more than 400 years? They have reserve. Now, we Africans and some places, we are selling out our own oil. We are just selling, we are interested in the money, but they are buying. Have we ever wondered why they are buying? And now the prices are falling, it will become useless. But a time will come that you may have to be buying again from them. And we are not thinking about it. And even now, we are not the one that, there's OPEC. Who controls OPEC? So they determine how much. So you own a product, but you cannot determine how much you want to sell your product. It happened during the transatlantic slave trade. And it is still going on around the world today. The ceramic bowl, the value of a ceramic bowl in Badagry was 10 human beings. So when you get inside the first room, to the left, you see our own clay pots that are still standing. Unfortunately, Africans don't even value what they have. And the Europeans, those slave merchants, when they come, they're interested in African beads. But they came with coral beads. But the coral beads were very cheap where they are coming from. Okay, so they're interested in ours that is kind of useless to us, but they go with it. But over there, it is very, very expensive. So they came with the mirror, okay? They came with the gun. The value of a Dane gun in Badagry was 40 human beings. They showed us the power of the gun, and we were so excited. Now, let me quickly tell us this, because of my brothers and sisters from US. I have friends from Jamaica. Now, I'm not saying this to bring about strife, but you must understand that the narratives you've heard, a lot of them are not true. So what you hear from me is from the African perspective. When the Europeans came many years ago,